So first up, I'd like to invite Stacey Jackson to the stage. Stacey is a two-time Volvo Ocean Race legend, being her second one. From Australia, I think I've got the right flag, right, Stacey?
Yes.
And I've actually raced with and against Stacey for many years. She's also a match racer and probably one of the only girls I know that is actually very skilled on all areas of the boat. She's a professional sailmaker and a boat captain, so she can literally do everything on board. Next up we have, we'll get everyone sitting up here. Next up we have Francesca. Yeah.
Hello.
Francesca's from Italy. This is her first Volvo Ocean Race, although I think a lot of people know of her because she's a very good character. That was a compliment, Fran.
Funny one. Muppets.
But it has come from the Olympics, and actually I think you've got quite an interesting story because you started off sailing by yourself in London, then you went to a two-person boat for Rio, and now there's 10 of you on board.
Enough.
Enough, okay. And finally, I'd like to invite up Bianca. Bianca's from New Zealand, and she comes from a different background again. Bianca's also on certified plastic, and Bianca's actually come from a CPR and offshore background, and I believe the boat builder.
Yeah, so I'm pretty proud of my story on how I got to sail in the Volvo Ocean Race. I was not a champion sailor. I have no trophies, I have no national nothings. The only successful results-wise sailing I did was I was in a pretty good match racing team. We beat Annie sometimes, she beat us sometimes. But otherwise, I just loved sailing, and I really loved the concept of offshore sailing, and I liked the idea of sailing from A to B or across an ocean or around the world eventually. So I was set on how am I going to achieve this. I was never destined to go to university. I finished high school and had to have a plan, and I was going to race big boats, and I was going to move interstate in Australia to do it. And my dad said, fine, you can do that, but you have to have a job. You're only 18, you know, you come up with a job and then you can move. So I thought, right, how am I going to get a job to go sailing? I'll become a sailmaker. What's a sailmaker? Okay, whatever, I'll take an apprenticeship, and I did my 4-year apprenticeship, and from the moment I started doing that, opportunities came about. I got to sail on better and better race boats in, it's probably not good English, is it? And he used to always correct my grammar on SCA. And I got further and further, more and more experience, and to the point where I got a job overseas as a sailmaker on a 100-foot racing yacht. And this owner in particular never had females race on his boat before. I initially started as a shore crew, and I gained the trust and showed him that you know, the mast wasn't going to fall down if there was a female on board. You know, it was going to be fine, and I ended up at 3 years with him, with his team and his yacht, and you know, we won a heap of maxi worlds and set a bunch of records in offshore races and things. And I just kept, you know, using that skill, and then you know, not so many boats have the luxury of having a full-time sailmaker on board, so then I learnt skills of working on boats. So, you know, boats always break, right? We know that if we sail, you've always got to do maintenance. So I went down that path and ended up, you know, and Abby Ella, who's hiding somewhere, she's actually one of the 2 female boat captains in this race, and she, there you are, Mandy. She is the best in the business, and I aim to be like Abby. So, you know, preparing the boats is a massive skill you can have, and most of my professional sailing I do is because I prepare the boat, or I bring that extra skill to the team, as well as being a sailmaker. So, and that eventually led to the opportunity of SC8, Team SC8 came about in the last race, and you know, you've got to be a good sailor, yeah, and you've got to be, you know, fit and strong, but you've also got to sort of bring in other skills to the team, and in a way I was bringing 2 skills with, you know, along with my sailing. So, you know, for me, a lot of people always ask me, what do I need to do to get on a Volvo, and that's my biggest piece of advice, is to bring something else as well as being a really dedicated sailor.
Thanks, Stacey. And Stacey's always always very humble. That's why we forced her to speak tonight, because she doesn't really tell you how good she is. I distinctly remember one point on SCA, well, I think a lot of us do, we kind of capsized in the Southern Ocean. It's never a great thing to do. And then someone needs to kind of take control of what you're going to do after that, and we had a lot of damage to our sails. Damage is a bad word. Stacey once told me, Annie, if you're assessing the size of a hole in the sail and you can walk through it, you probably can't fix it. And that was the case with this particular sail. We'd also damaged the mainsail, but I distinctly remember someone who's quite quiet on board normally, actually it was Stacey who really sort of took control of that situation and knew what we needed to do first and what the priorities were. And I think showing that those skills are really needed, especially in this race, and how invaluable it is to have someone like Stacey on board. Not only that, I mean, she's also the best bowerwoman, and if you go up there and you don't know what you're doing, she's actually quite nice to you, helps you rather than shout at you. So next up, Fran.
It's me.
Yes. So you come from an Olympic background, and as we said, a single-handed to begin with. So what on earth brought you to here?
I don't know, maybe because my English is funny, so they can have some laugh on board. I come from Italy, it's not because I didn't study.
So you joined the Volvo for the food then?
Oh no, the food is horrible. I enjoyed the last week I was at home and the food was really good. So.
Of course, Italians always say that. But on a serious note, I mean, now you've been in a big team. Do you think you'd do this again, or do you want to go back to the Olympics?
No, I think, I mean, the Olympics give me probably the opportunity to be here and the opportunity to do amazing experience. I did London in the single-handed with the laser radio and Rio in the 49er FX, so with another teammate. And basically I learned how to sail boats, and I learned how to prepare a long-term campaign, how to work with other people, and yeah, but I think the Olympic sailing is done, and I'm really happy that it's like a step just forward. I hope to do this race again and maybe put more in practice what I learned this time. You know, it's there are so many things to learn. It's also from my background, of course, I need to learn how to sail a big boat, and now I feel that I'm a bit more ready, but it's almost over. So, yeah, I would love to have a second chance.
I'm sure you will, and yeah, we can all empathise with you. I think from SCA we very much felt the same, that we just got there at the end of the race. But I'm going to say, I know I'm not meant to be biased, but like, you guys are going to be on the podium by the end of this race, okay? Is that a deal?
I don't know, everyone said that. We need to do it, I hope we have the chance to do it.
If I can help it.
Maybe we can play other teams.
We're in public here.
I can't wait to do it.
And Bianca, we're just going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I'll hand over to you guys. So you come from an entirely different background again. Are you happy just to tell us your route here?
Okay. Yeah, so I kind of didn't really do the dinghy thing when I was younger. I wasn't really interested in it. I wanted to kind of go and play soccer and do ballet and all that sort of thing. But my dad was a boat builder, so he really wanted my sister and I to get into sailing. So we always used to go sailing on his classic yacht. When I got a little bit older, I joined at our yacht club. We have a youth program for match racing. So I started doing that and then got into the women's match racing and loved it. It was awesome how competitive the sailing is. And then eventually I kind of came to an end and didn't really know what to do next, but I really wanted to go travelling. So I started working on super yachts. Then got really, really lucky with the boats that I was working on. The first boat that I worked on was Endeavour, which was a J-class, one of the old America's Cup boats back in the 1930s. And I was the only female deckhand on board, but it was really cool in that the owner wanted females on his crew, and the engineer was also a female too. And from there I worked on a couple of boats, and then the last boat that I worked on, it was actually really interesting. I went for the interview and the captain said to me, "Oh, I just have to get permission from the owner because you're a female." And I thought, okay, that's a bit of a strange one, never come across that before. And he goes, "We'll just put you on a trial for a couple of weeks." And I thought, okay. And I went onto the boat and just held my own and really stood up and just showed that I was more than capable of doing the job, and got promoted very, very quickly. So I started working on the boat. It was a 220-foot carbon fibre modern classic hitch. And the really cool thing about it was that we did a lot of racing, and we had a lot of Volvo guys come and do all the racing with us. And the Volvo was something that I had always dreamed of doing, but never ever thought it would ever be possible. And then when the change of rule came about, these guys that I'd been sailing alongside with encouraged me to send my CV out. So I sent it out, and eventually Dee picked it up, and here I am today.
Makes it sound so easy. There's a lot of years of hard work in that, and yeah, I mean, amazing to come from a background where perhaps if you're Olympic sailing and you're winning events, people know of you, but it's harder to come out sometimes at the super yacht circuit where there are lots of sailors and it's hard to know, so a massive achievement. Well done.
Sure. So what's been the best bit, like each of you, what's been the best bit of the race so far? Like your prime moment?
Well, the pizza at the finish line.
I'm going to take the easy answer. We won leg 1.
I cannot say the same thing. We didn't win. So nice. I don't know, for me it's amazing experience to share with teammates. Like I was used to work with a really small team or alone, and being able to share this experience with other 9-10 people on board is it's amazing. It's one of the things that probably I will remember forever.
It's really romantic. I had two moments in this race. The first was the start right at Alicante. Mostly because I just couldn't believe I was in the situation that I was. Like, it was incredible to be starting the Volvo Ocean Race. For a start, it was incredible, and the adrenaline was really running through you, and also the spectator boats were so close. We came really close to, well, one of them came really close to hitting us, so that was pretty scary. We almost thought we were never going to even start the race there. But the other moment for me was the Southern Ocean, leaving Auckland. Auckland's my home port, so sailing out of Auckland was emotional, but it was the most incredible sailing I've ever experienced in my life. It was hard, it was tough. We really pushed ourselves harder than we've ever pushed before, and you know, from previous races they said it was one of the toughest Southern Ocean legs. But I came out of it kind of thinking, oh my god, this is the best sailing experience I've ever had, and I just want to go back, really. These guys think I'm nuts.
Do you ever get afraid, and if so, how do you deal with that fear?
I've had a pretty tough race, actually, to be honest. We've had some moments. One of them I'll share. Our mast broke in the Southern Ocean. We had just rounded Cape Horn, and we weren't all that far from land. We had 100 miles to go, so our situation could have been a lot worse. We could have been 3,000 miles from land. But the thing that our team has done really well together is we've learned to sort of overcome challenges in the moment of the challenge, because it's one thing to only look at exactly what's happened that in that very moment. Our mast had fallen down. It was lying over the side of the boat into the water, and it's really hard to see past that moment. But suddenly you realize, okay, we need to pick up the pieces here, and we need to start making the next plan and the next plan and the next plan to continue with the race. So for me, like, I think a sailing boat without sails is a pretty scary thing to encounter. So yeah, for me, we're all in a situation we want to be in, but we're all with. I speak for myself, and I assure you guys agree. We're in a team. I'm in a team that I wouldn't change a thing about, and that's really what got us through that hard time.
Yeah, no, of course. The race is tough, and you know that out there are risks, and we know that we take these risks. Probably the feel that I have is when I'm sailing, I'm really focused on like pushing the boats, trying to sail faster, and when I go down below, trying to rest, eat, and sleep, whatever. So I don't know. I'm not afraid because I don't, maybe not even the time to think about But at the same time, sometimes I just think to the people that are waiting for us at home. And of course, like, I know that for them the time is going really, really slow. Like for my mom, for the people that love me, and it's not like 20 days as we have 20 days on board, but it's a long time to wait that everything's fine, they are ashore and they are fine. So I think probably the people that waiting for us ashore are more scared than us, because we are really focused on our performance. So yeah, I think this is my feeling. I think for everyone it's different.
Yeah, I agree with Stacey and with Francesca. Yeah. You do have moments on board where you're a bit like, whoa. But yeah, for us, for me, my family are more afraid than I am. And you know, we're in a team environment and we all look out for each other. And if someone, and you know, from the safety side, but also from like a personal side, if somebody's having a bad day, you know, you've got the whole lot of the crew to kind of pick you up. You do have moments out there that are scary. You do have down moments. But yeah, we're always very, very safety conscious, and yeah, we definitely put our lives on the line, but we need to make sure that our families are happy with us.
So what next in terms of sailing adventures, and how has the past kind of 9 months or so shaped your views on what your next challenge should be?
You know, that's the worst question to ask people near the end of the Volvo Ocean Race. You're both trying not to think about that and just get to the end.
I can tell you, we had 2 Southern Ocean legs this race, which is twice as many as last edition of the race. Both times in the first leg I went, that's right, I remember now. I said if I did this race again I wouldn't do the Southern Ocean leg. And I was already 4 days into it when I remembered that. So, and I was like, well, you know, maybe I can miss the next Southern Ocean leg, and did that as well. But I thought, no, this will be the last time. Then you have a week on the beach in Brazil and you warm up and you forget about it, and already, I don't know, and it's not a definite yes for me to do the race again, but there's definitely that, with SCA, and he touched on it, we very much were given an opportunity, and we achieved a lot by the end of the race, and then to be able to do it again, for me with such an experienced crew, it felt like, okay, now I get to prove the skills and learn even faster. At one point in this race, it felt like we could have won it overall. Things happen, and that's not the case. So I fear that feeling might still be there, and maybe third time lucky.
Yeah, it's a hard one. No, of course, like, we have still 1 month to race, and then we will need to find something else to do. We need to find a job, come on, be honest. No, but I think, like, I hope that in sports now, also for women, there are more opportunities, and probably people are seeing us like as prepared as men. No, but anyway, and of course, I love to keep sailing. This is my life. I mean, it's what I like and what I'm probably good at. I don't know if I'm really good, but. I mean, probably like writing a book is worst, so I can try to keep sailing, and I hope that this race gives me the opportunities and the chance to make more miles around the world, or doing more races and sailing with really good teams, and yeah, and if there is the chance to get another Volvo, why not? I mean, it's a good experience.
Come on, you're a good sailor. Yeah, for me, I definitely want to try and do another Volvo. I loved it, and it's something that I always wanted to do. With us coming into this Volvo, we knew that our team was all about, you know, getting the experience. And you know, unfortunately, not for maybe 3 of us, we're not going to win the Volvo. But for the first time ever, a woman will win the Volvo, and there's a couple of them in this room. So there are, yeah. So I know, so yeah. You guys are inspiring, and what we all, you know, want to aspire to be. So yeah, to win the Volvo would be pretty awesome. But yeah, for me, maybe take a little bit of a holiday, try and get some sleep, eat some normal food. I'm really looking forward to not eating freeze dry for a while. But yeah, maybe just do a little bit of match racing, maybe some offshore sailing, and yeah, just keep sailing, and eventually I'm going to have to go home back to New Zealand and start doing some work at the boatyard. So yeah.
If there was one thing you wish you'd known before you stepped onto a Volvo boat, what would it be?
One thing you wish you'd known.
Don't step on.
You just said you want to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, I'd probably just label everything better, because for me, everything that I have on board ends up somewhere to leeward in the bilge, and it's pretty disappointing when you find yourself in the middle of the Southern Ocean without any gloves or one glove. So yeah, keeping all your stuff together is pretty key.
Yeah, I think Annie's roundabout saying preparation, being prepared. Like, I would just ask everyone every question possible and find out what they knew, and I'd take all of that with me.
And before doing the Volvo, I mean, of course, I would love to have more miles, because more experience in big boats. But I think it was also really nice to jump on with no experience and learn so much and share everything with the guys on board that had no experience also. So we were like sharing, the same problems, and which kind of jacket I have to put on? Oh no, that was the wrong one, and it was the wrong one for 4 hours. So yeah, next time maybe I will be, how it works, or will be more prepared and everything. But I think as a first experience, it's quite nice that you also arrive and it's like a new world, and like a kid with the candies, so that's quite good. Just translate literally.
Yeah, I guess I wish we knew Matt Frey, Dongfeng and Brunel's playbook maybe before we started the race. All seriousness, maybe being a little more prepared, maybe having a different selection of freeze dry before starting the race.
Come on.
No, I mean, Francesca's in charge of the food on our boat, so she gets upset when I complain. Preparation really more than anything, and I mean, we've been really lucky on our team. We all work really hard together, and we're very lucky in that we had some women that had done the race before, so they gave us a lot of insight into the situations that we'd be getting ourselves into. So what jacket to wear, and how to do your little silly things like how to do your hair, and take gloves, and take a spare pair of socks, and just all the simple things. You don't realise it, but that's pretty important.